I always figured it just starts right up. I was expecting a little more of a lead time. Yeah. I really should have, like, a starting screen. I should have a lot of things that other more professional streamers have, and I just have not bothered. I just have, like, the most low-effort, lazy-ass stream ever. And yet people will somehow still show up for it, and I appreciate that. So anyway, good evening everyone. Welcome to Dumb Ways to Die, where we are playing Broken Sword 1, the first one, Shadow of the Templars, the original version. This is the director's cut. It's the original version that comes with the director's cut. So it's the director's cut, but it's not the director's cut, if that makes any sense at all. Just monkeying around with my windows here. Get them all set up the way I like them. There we go. That should do it. Alright, so when we left off, hold on. Did I feel like my mic is too loud. I don't know if it is or not, but it seems like it is to me. Well, okay. I'm sure someone will let me know if my audio levels are off. I hope someone will let me know. Anyway, when we left off, we just picked up, or not picked up, but we had, well, yeah, we did pick up, but we've acquired a very valuable piece of paper, which we immediately then dropped out a hotel window into a gross alley. But that was the only way to get it past some jerks who were totally prepared to kill me for it. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, before I head off to my next lead, I want to talk to Nicole one more time, because there was something else I wanted to look at.
Hi, George.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Right, so we're supposed to somehow interpret all of this jiggery-pokery here. And I guess this is like, okay, so this is like the different panels. So that's the bottom right, bottom left, top right, top left.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has three hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. There's a woman, but the
Okay.
a knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
Nice.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
All right.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened.
Cool. All right. So George, we don't know what his actual occupation is, but he at least studied law. That's cool. It's a good useful background to have, I'm sure.
The Night Scroll bears a phrase in Latin. Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy working on a loom. There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I could think of a
I
couple
don't think
others.
I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod.
Yes, exactly. That he studied law, not that he has a law degree, and not that he is a practicing lawyer in any capacity, just that he studied it. That's all he said. That's all we know.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod.
All right. Also, hello, Michael Fort. Welcome.
Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Yes, let's go check out that museum. Sounds like a good lead to me. Museums are always a good lead in any game. And only sometimes do they lead to a desperate car chase through a garage. A parking garage. Okay, so my brain immediately went to, like, oh, I produce and sell meth. I produce and sell meth and meth accessories. Alright. Nice museum. Nice window to peek through. Because apparently that's what I do in games these days. Peek through windows. This one and Deadly Premonition.
I considered smashing my fist through the pane, wrenching open the window, and vaulting triumphantly into the building. Then I thought, no, that's dumb. Besides, I might get hurt.
Also, I haven't even tried the door yet, which is clearly open. George has been taking lessons from Rosette, apparently, because she wanted to leave through the window like a superhero.
The statue didn't deserve to be mauled by a Philistine like me.
Oh, I forgot. Wait, I forgot that there's a just an examine and not interact, not closely examine thing. There's a right-click function that I have not been using.
Through the grimy glass, I could see several large shapes in a gloomy room. What they were, I couldn't imagine.
Hey, Klutz, happy Monday. May the 4th be with you.
It was a statue from ancient Egypt. Those old civilizations sure could teach us a few things about art and beauty.
Hey, dude. Sir, if you would mind getting off of my grill.
The case contained a collection of rocks. They were all shapes and colors, but they were still rocks. Above them, a sign read, L'Âge Paléolithique. I tried to sneak my hand inside while the guard wasn't looking, but the case was locked.
What do you want with Paleolithic rocks anyway? That's not what you're here for.
The case contained some fragments of pottery. They looked to me like broken flower pots. Above them, a sign read, L'Âge Paléolithique. The case contained 2 rows of silver coins. Each coin on the lower row showed a portrait of a guy with a huge nose. I looked down at a collection of tools with wooden handles and tarnished metal blades. There were knives, chisels, and spikes fanned out in a semicircle. I guess there's always been a need for home improvement.
Eh?
It was a large brass urn. There was nothing in the urn. I tried to sneak. In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript.
Oh.
A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Lochmarn at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited.
Like, good job, you can read the plaque.
It was a tapestry of a lady, a lion, and a unicorn. If I'd had more time, I could have stared at it all day.
We're stuck on Star Wars Day forever now. Uh-oh.
Touching an object as rare and beautiful as that would have been the act of a barbarian.
Just call me George the Barbarian.
The totem pole looked distinctly out of place in the setting of the museum.
I like that fish at the top. That's cute. Hey, Raviolin.
Watch out! You'll have that done on top of us!
No touchy. No touchy things in the museum.
Hey, no! No, monsieur. No!
No!
What's wrong?
Bad.
You must not enter the exhibits!
I'm sorry. It was an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus with a beautifully painted effigy of its owner on the lid.
Oh, it's The Kiss by Rodin. Neat. I like Rodin. He is probably one of my favorite classical artists.
It was a stone carving from ancient Egypt.
Yeah, well, unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that.
I was no desecrator of tombs.
What did you just say about handling the exhibits?
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus.
Okay, let's actually talk to this guy who I've been
Pardon
bothering.
me?
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobineau?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobineau does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
What can you tell me about the collection of pottery?
Those are remains of pots used by the original inhabitants of Paris. The Paris pot people.
When did they move out?
15,000 years ago, monsieur. Vanished in the mists of time. Didn't even have time to pack up their pots.
Okay.
I thought the original inhabitants of Paris were a tribe known as the Parisi.
That is right, monsieur. Renowned for their pots. You see, in those days, people didn't have much in the way of possessions. A few flints, some animal skins, maybe the odd bone or two. Naturally, when the Parisi came along with their pots, why, everybody wanted one.
I guess they must have caused a kind of consumer frenzy.
Ah oui, they cornered the market, cleaned up.
So I don't feel like everything he's telling me is historically accurate. Great Star!
You don't know the first thing about those pots, do you?
No, monsieur.
Alright, well good. I'm glad he admits it. Hello, Snow Crane.
What can you tell me about the collection of coins?
A rare example of silver coinage from the reign of Philippe le Bel. That little old lay buried for centuries in a field on the outskirts of Paris. They're unique. Nothing like them has been found anywhere else in Europe.
Yes, 1,000 followers, which I hit last week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support and for sticking with me all this time. And I'm definitely going to do something special to commemorate it. Haven't quite decided what it is yet, but since I did a 12-hour stream for 500 followers, I was thinking of doing 24 hours for 1,000, but after some thought and some consulting with some more experienced streamers, I've decided not to do 24-hour stream. Instead, I'm going to do 2 12 hours. Ha! Even if you unfollow, I'll still have 1,000 because I'm actually at 1,001. But yeah, my thinking right now is I'm going to do two 12-hour streams over 2 days, over a weekend, and I don't know what I'm going to play yet, but currently the foremost idea in my mind is the entire Monkey Island series. I'll do the Monkey-thon that Makafort and I have been talking about for years. I don't know if that'll fill up a total of 24 hours, so I might have to think of some backup games to go with it if I do decide to do that. But that's my thought right now. I might change my mind. And if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. If there's anything in particular you want to see me do, or like suggestions for, like, I don't know, weird things I could do during the stream, like donation incentives or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, throw them at me. I'm open to suggestions. Granny 3-in-1 setting. No, I am not playing that game again.
Who was Philippe le Bel?
You don't know? Philippe IV, the King of France.
Wasn't he the guy who wiped out the Knights Templar?
I have no idea, monsieur. All I know is he was King of France. I don't even know why he was called Philippe le Bel.
Because he was pretty.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
Isn't that like a UK saying? Like, I feel like a French person wouldn't say that, but I'm not sure.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician.
Oh my God.
But he also doubled as the village school teacher.
Didn't
He
ask.
taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on.
Hey, don't assume.
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
Who?
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
Okay.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology.
Oh, that's a terrible gap in your education.
Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
Okay. I'm sensing a Mission Impossible style heist in the near future. Or just, like, a roundabout way of disabling the alarm system.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Okay. Now time to rub all my inventory items on him.
Do you recognize this red nose?
I don't think so.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. Is there any reason why I should?
I guess not. Do you recognize this ID pass?
No.
What does this tool mean to you?
That belongs in a museum.
Pardon?
It is a priceless historical artifact, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's a plain old tool for lifting drain covers. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
Oh, no. I don't frequent places like that.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur.
Eh? Oh, come on. Someone is going to shake my hand in this game, I swear it.
What do you make of this tissue?
It is absolutely disgusting, monsieur.
Can't argue with that.
Thanks for your help.
Such as it is. Well, Lobino's not here. And I clearly need to get my hands on that tripod somehow.
Now, what did I tell you about touching the exhibits?
Was it you can touch all you want so long as your hands are clean?
Not quite, monsieur. It was do not touch, not ever.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, that was, I think that was who I was saying who about. Yeah, I feel like I've heard the name before, but I was not making the connection. I wouldn't be surprised if, like... I mean, I don't think they did, but it seems like Shadow Hearts would have mentioned him at some point. Considering Shadow Hearts' love for historical weirdness. Yeah.
As I reached toward the display case, a shrill piping filled the air. I froze, then tried to get myself together and act nonchalantly.
No, monsieur. No et no.
Okay.
I didn't do it. I'm gonna save my game here. I wonder if, hold on, I'm gonna wait until he walks into view again.
As I reached toward I froze.
No, monsieur.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure if it matters if he's looking at me.
Don't even think of climbing in there, monsieur. You'll be suffocated.
I'm totally gonna climb in there.
I always wondered how it felt to be a mummy.
Yeah, wait, okay, let me see if I can do it while his back is turned.
Do you have a
No.
fetish about closets, monsieur?
No, I guess not. Okay.
I just love the smell of mothballs, I guess.
Yeah, the save menu is, I mean, that's some gray on gray text. That's not, oops, I don't want to quit. Not a very well thought out menu design there.
Watch out! You'll have that done on top of us!
Maybe that's what I want. I feel like whatever I'm doing is gonna have something to do with this sarcophagus. Because why would I be able to open it otherwise?
Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
No.
Forget it.
Yeah, it is. We'll go back and talk to Nicole again. Maybe she has some ideas.
The tripod was definitely the one in the manuscript. The Templar connection confirmed it. I was tempted to go to Ireland to check it out.
Yeah, we could just go to Ireland. That's also an option. Oh yeah, airport. Neat. Okay, let's go talk to Nicole first.
Hi, George.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marn.
I have heard of Loch Marn. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
Sweet. Don't sit on the table. We're sitting on the
A
chair.
popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a fourth series of his popular television program.
Huh. Hey, ATM machine.
This site at Loch Marn must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marn?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly?
Where is Ireland? Yeah, we found an artifact in the museum that apparently used to belong to John Dee.
What do you know about Professor Pegram?
I've seen a television program, Pegram's Past. He's written a book, The Crusader Families of Ireland.
I'll bet he'd be interested in the manuscript. Let's take another look at the manuscript.
This thing, this tripod thingy.
That's the tripod in the Crew Museum. There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod. I'll see you later.
Okay. Keep me informed if you find anything new.
Alright, so I guess we're going to Ireland. Cool. Now, stepping away from questionable French accents to questionable Irish accents, I bet. That'll be fun. Cool. Oh, are these all the places I'm gonna eventually get to go? Neat. Let's see, wait, okay. So, complete with, like, also questionable caricatures of people from that country. So we got England, Germany. Not sure what that is. I don't know what flag that is either. Russia, Spain. It's France, Italy. Shoot, I don't know what that one is either. And that's it's not Iran, is it? No. Which one is that? Poland? Oh, Poland. Okay. Oh, Greece. Thank you. Turkey. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I'm an idiot when it comes to geography. Yes. That is Greece. That is not a flag that is foremost in my mind for whatever reason. Turkey. Okay. Poland. All right. I'm probably gonna forget, but trying to cement these flags in my mind so I can remember them later. Cool. Lochmarn. Here we go.
Several hours later, I arrived in Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I'd been lucky to get a bus from Dublin to the tiny village of Lochmarn. On the way out, the driver told me there was only one service a day.
All right, so I'm stuck here in Ireland in Lochmarn for a day.
The menu was limited. It read, "No food today." I didn't care. I'd lost my appetite somewhere over the Irish Sea.
Aw.
It was a trap door in the sidewalk.
You mean a sewer grate? It's a sewer grate.
The drain was covered with an iron grating, through which I could hear the rush and surge of running water.
Ah, and I have a tool for sewer grates.
I tugged at the trap door, but it was locked from the inside. I took hold of the grating and pulled hard, but it didn't move.
Yeah. Do we have our special tool? We do. All the way from Paris. We brought a drain opener from Paris.
It was a featureless plastic box firmly attached to the wall of the building.
The fact that the music played suggests that it's important somehow.
I tugged at the plastic cover, but it didn't move.
Yeah. Airport security, yeah. Ireland, yes.
The lad was doing his best to express his adolescent aggression. His effort was somewhat diminished by the fringe of milk on his lightly feathered upper lip.
Aggressive whistling.
Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
I'm a private investigator. Apparently. No.
I'm George Stobart, and I'm with the good guys.
You're a head case, mister. A few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run from me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till me fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too. But I took the pennies he gave me back home. Look, Ma, says I, see what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood. When suddenly, me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back. That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year.
I don't believe a word of what he just told me. My name is Harry Mason. I'm in town on vacation.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, 'cause he's not here now, but if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No, only...
What?
Oh, nothing.
Ghosts?
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No,
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Loch Man.
Really? Look at that cute little ghost icon. Woo.
Do you know anything about Pegram's Dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram brought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
What does this Fitzgerald guy look like?
Big head, big ears, and face irons.
What?
You know, spectacles,
Face,
glasses. He's blind as a bat without him.
face irons. I've never heard that term before, and I love it. Smelly old hole.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. There's this clown, see, and he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
Hey, spoilers.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids. 10 kids if you count the wives.
I like this kid.
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worst. It was coming from inside the castle.
Ooh. Too spoopy for me.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows that could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but me legs had lost their stuffing.
Miles O'Brien. I see what you did there.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
Hey, is he Stardust? Yeah, I'm digging this game so far. It's the first time playing it. Finally getting around to the Broken Sword series.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
Alright, inventory time.
Have you ever seen anyone wearing one of these?
That belongs to the killer clown you're looking for.
That's right.
Can I have it?
Sorry, I'm keeping this as evidence.
You should have told the cops.
I did. They weren't interested.
Yeah. Really, before I started playing this game, I was looking around on the internet for some differences for like what the difference was between the original version and the director's cut, and the general consensus that I was seeing was that the director's cut is not as good, and I should play the original. So I did. But interesting that you opine otherwise.
Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy character. No, I never seed him.
Take a look at this, McGuire.
It's an ID card. What of it?
Ever heard of Thomas Merlin or the Gruber Electronics Corporation?
No.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Lifting drains.
Dead right. How did you know that?
Work experience course at school. That gives me a choice of going down the drains or up the chimney.
You're kidding. Do you recognize this matchbook, McGuire?
No, sir. I never seen it before in my life.
Give me your hand.
Get lost.
Oh, come on. I just want to show you a little trick.
No way, mister. I don't do tricks. Father Mahoney told me I'd burn in hell if I did.
I just want to shake your hand, that's all.
Oh, all right.
Oh my god.
Gotcha. Neat, huh?
Didn't feel a thing.
Yay, I finally got someone to shake my damn hand.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing.
Alright, good.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Please, his name is Liam, we know that now. It's a cool looking little path up there. I wonder where that leads. First, let's go in this bar. Yeah, and I heard that you actually play as Nico at some point in the game. But yes, sliding block puzzle is a deal breaker. I also heard that that there's like a feature that you can't turn off, where it highlights all of the interactable objects on screen, and I don't want to see that. I want to actually, you know, explore a thing for myself instead of immediately being shown what I can interact with and what I can't. Like, come on, I'm a veteran point-and-click player. I don't need to be... I don't need my hand held. Oh. No! Gesundheit.
The guy with the fiddle seemed oblivious to everything except his playing. Meanwhile, everyone else in the bar seemed oblivious to him. The guy sat in the corner as if he was a permanent fixture. There was a vacant look on his cow-like face that said quite clearly, "Nobody home." His elbow rested on an obviously soggy piece of towel.
Which I can apparently pick up. One thing I am wondering also is, like, so why do I keep asking people if have I seen a guy dressed as a clown when obviously he's not dressed as a clown anymore? We saw him, like, walk into his hotel room and change out of his clown pants.
I recognized the guy from McGuire's description. He was real twitchy.
Oh.
The white whiskers on the bartender's flushed face were like garlands on a Christmas tree. The resemblance ended there. The top of his head was too slick and shiny to act as a perch for a Christmas angel. It was a telephone, incongruous in the rustic setting of the homely bar. It was an electric glass washer. It looked even older than the barman. It was an electrical plug attached to the glass washer.
Telephones.
The end of the bar was hinged, like the drawbridge on a medieval castle.
Or, like, you know, just a bar. Pretty standard feature.
I'd been taught not to judge people by their appearance or their clothes or the length of their hair. Nobody ever said anything about runny noses.
Cough into your elbow! Don't just spray it out all over the place. Ugh, so rude. Alright, let's talk to everybody. If I can.
He wasn't listening. Hello there. My name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. I'm O'Brien. Can I help you?
Yeah, you're the guy with the pig. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What can you tell me about the castle, Mr. O'Brien?
It's a fine site now, isn't it? Dates back to the 10th century, you know. Most of the existing building was added much later, of course.
Are the ruins open to the public?
Oh no, it's much too dangerous. Anyway, there's nothing of interest remaining.
Pegram thought otherwise, didn't he?
Ah, but it's not difficult to get them history boys excited, is it? Give them a bone to play with, and they're happy as puppies.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
You're too late to meet that fella.
Is he dead?
Not that, but he's gone from the village. A sore point with our esteemed host, I might add.
Huh.
Do you know where Pegram has gone?
I'm sorry, but I don't. He upped anchor in the dark and shipped out before the dawn.
Why did he do that?
Who knows? A guilty conscience or a secret assignation. Whatever the reason, he'll not be missed in Lochmar. Maybe now the fuss about the gem has died down, we can get back to normal.
Gem, huh?
Why has Pegram's departure upset the landlord?
He's lost a paying guest, that's why. More than that, there's the question of an unsettled bill. Poor Michael's seen red over the business, and I don't blame him.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary is what you call a would-be sophisticate. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in Braille.
That's funny. I know, right? But yeah, I wonder if it's if it's actually sick or if it's an illness or allergy. Is the sentence I was trying to get out of my mouth. It wasn't working. Hey, Demonomaniac. Going all right? How are you?
Was it Pegram who dug up the tripod at the castle?
The same man, if he wasn't his twin brother. And can you guess what he did with the tripod?
He sent it to a museum in Paris. I've seen it. How can I get into the castle?
Well, those walls were built specifically to stop people getting in, Mr. Stobart. But I dare say you'll find a way, if you've the will.
Thanks. That's not terribly helpful.
Do you know Sean Fitzgerald?
Yes, I do. What do you want with him?
I want to talk to him about working at the dig.
What makes you think he did?
The boy outside told me.
I can't imagine anyone employing Sean Fitzgerald on a dig. He wouldn't know a post hole from his elbow.
What can you tell me about the gem which Pegram found?
Now there's a gem. which should never have been taken. A man would have to be full of greed to covet that stone. What's your interest in the jewel? You're not a reporter, are you?
No.
Oh no.
Thank the Lord for that.
Does this red nose suggest anything to you?
It's a clown's nose, isn't it? I haven't been to a circus since I was 10 years old. O'Donnelly and I walked all the way to Ballymore, 15 miles in our bare feet.
Yeah, he does. Can't wait to finally work my way over there and talk to him.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Nope, I've never seen him before.
What can you tell me about this ID pass?
Gruber Electronics. I've never heard of it.
Ooh, I can't wait till we go to Germany and I actually start to maybe follow up that lead. Also, yay, German accents.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
I'd say it was for lifting manhole covers.
How come you know that?
I'm a man of the world, Mr. Stobart.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The design is Middle Eastern, I'd say.
Ooh, yeah, and we'll probably go to, I'm guessing Club Alamo's going to be in Turkey.
I'd like to shake you by the hand, Mr. O'Brien.
I'd rather not. You see, I happened to notice that vibrating buzzer in your palm.
Aw. George, you gotta do a better job at concealing that thing.
What do you make of this tissue?
I guess that muck on it is grease paint.
There's no fooling you, Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. O'Brien's a smart guy.
Goodbye for now.
Alright. How about you?
Hi, my name's Stobart, George Stobart.
Hello there, mister. What can I do for you?
Talk to me about everything.
Do you know Professor Pegram?
Do I know him? Do I know the good professor himself? No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him to talk to.
Do you know anything about Pegram's excavation?
Only that he didn't have the right tools for the job. What he needed was shovels and a JCB.
Pegram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
Is that a fact? What the hell for?
It's the science of archaeology, Pat. Understanding how people used to live by what they've left behind. One day archaeologists might be digging up our remains.
Imagine that, Mr. O'Brien. I wonder what they'll find.
Well, it won't be arrowheads and beakers. Fast food cartons and flavored condoms, more likely.
I like you, Mr. O'Brien. What the heck's a JCB?
Did anyone from the village work at Pegram's dig?
I tried it myself, but that high and mighty history man called me incontinent. What a nerve. Hadn't I dug more holes than the rest of them put together?
Yeah, it's not the number of holes you dig, it's where you dig your holes, I think.
Can you tell me anything about the castle on the hill?
Oh, I don't know much about anything. You should ask Mr. O'Brien here. He just joined up writing. Would you be one of them history fellas yourself?
Sure.
That's right, Professor Stobart, Miskatonic University.
You're an archaeologist, and you're asking us about the castle.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien. The gentleman was talking to me. How come you didn't leave with the others?
I didn't know they'd gone.
Oh, yes. Packed their spades and shovels and away they went.
Seems I missed all the excitement.
What excitement?
Professor Pegram's discovery. Haven't you heard?
No.
Professor Eldritch Horrors, yes, exactly. And you know what happens? I mean, you gotta dig deep to find those Eldritch Horrors. Dig too greedily and too deep. Digging at least 75 holes, yeah. My cousin actually studied archaeology in college. And I'm sure she would confirm that.
What does this false nose mean to you?
No, you're a clown.
No, not me.
Ha, you're a good one, aren't you? Did you hear that, Michael?
I hate clowns.
Listen to this fella. I hate clowns, says he. Isn't he just the funniest man you ever did see, Michael?
He's not a clown, Doyle. He's not even remotely funny.
Thanks. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
It's a handsome mug on that fella, to be sure. Is he a film star?
Don't be fooled. This is the face of a psychopathic killer.
No. Well, there's one in the eye for me and my men.
Does this security pass mean anything to you?
Well, no.
I bet this guy will fall for my hand buzzer trick. He doesn't seem too bright.
What do you make of this tool?
It's for lifting manhole covers.
That's right. I found it in Paris.
Well, you look at that. A French sewer key. Marvelous.
Yes, very fancy.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No.
May I shake your hand?
No, you can't.
Well, how come?
Because I'll spill me beer if you do.
All right, fine.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
No. But you should show that to my granny. She could tell you fortune from it.
From a soiled tissue?
Sure. Some people read tea leaves. My granny reads handkerchiefs.
I like this. I like that skill. I want to meet your granny.
Bye for now.
Yes, I shake you warmly by the hand. Can I have that towel?
It was a beer-stained piece of toweling.
For no other reason than that it's there.
The man's arm lay across the towel, preventing me from moving it.
Oh, but he lifts his arm every so often. Hang on. This will be a timing issue. Whoop! Gimme. Haha!
As the man raised his arm to drink, I snatched the towel away.
Come on, just do the tablecloth trick.
It was a rectangle of toweling, printed with the words, Nagopaline Stout builds body.
All right.
It was an electric pump operated by pushing a small lever. I was about to reach for the pump when I came to my senses. A rash move like that in a strange country with strange customs could be my last. The white whiskers...
Oops.
Top of the morning to you!
Oh God, George. Please don't.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
Top of the morning to you! Insert Jacksepticeye here. Sure.
That's not a bad idea. Do you have a vacancy?
I could, if you don't mind waiting until the last guest checks out.
No problem. When will that be?
When the Undertaker comes to collect him.
Oh shit.
I'm looking for a man named Fitzgerald.
Fitzy? What's he done?
I believe he may have worked at Peagram's Dig.
Sean Fitzgerald? Work? You got the wrong guy.
You love a good stout. I'm not a big, I'm not a fan of beer myself. There have been a couple beers that I don't mind, but they're pretty rare. There's not a lot of beer out there that I actually like to drink.
Do you know a man called Peagram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
Not yet?
Oh no, I'm just trying to track him down.
Me too. That son of a bitch should be locked away.
Oh.
Did Peagram stay here?
That's right. In the best room in the house.
That's the one with the bed.
Sounds like a dessert. I have tried like beer that purports to be chocolate flavored and it isn't. So I don't know if if I'm a fan.
Can I see Peagram's room?
It's been taken by one of the brothers from the reformatory. They come every year for spiritual refreshment.
That's a good one. Their idea of refreshment is a gutful of stout.
I wouldn't want to disturb a man of God, especially not a big fella from the bad boys' home.
Okay.
I don't blame you, Mick. That brother's got muscles like a muscle man.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and like raw chocolate taste is, I mean, like, it's kind of gross, but like, if you know what you're going into, there is something kind of like weirdly satisfying about it. And I have tried Guinness. It's all right. Don't like it that much, but it's not terrible.
Have you served any, clowns recently?
No, you're the first today.
Seriously, I'm looking for a man dressed in a clown costume.
Would he be having a little white dog with a black patch over the eye?
I shouldn't think so.
I wonder if that's a reference to something.
What can you tell me about the castle?
You're the second person to ask me that today. I don't know anything about the castle. It's only an old ruin anyway.
Who else was asking about the castle?
He said he was a reporter. He was asking about the little people.
I could have told him a tale or two about the little people. He might have paid me to hear what he wanted me to say.
Anyway, I chucked him out on his arse.
Good for you, Mick. That's the way to deal with journalists.
Yeah. Discount for haunted room, yes please. Very belatedly. I'm reminded of Monkey Island 3, where there's like that guy who was like nailed into, or yeah, oh, he was like nailed into the wall in a Murphy bed. A milk stout. Oh, interesting. I'd be willing to try it. Even if I don't like a lot of beer, I'm still willing to try it, just to find ones that I do like. A fruity beer. Ooh, yes, I've had a there's a beer that I tried, or that I've had before. It's really good. It's Fruity strawberry. That's really good. Yeah, fruity beer is great.
I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and worn with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
Ooh. Can I... Well, okay, first let's talk to him about my inventory.
May I borrow this towel?
Sure you can, on one condition.
What's that?
You keep it away from old Ron.
Who's Ron?
That's him in the corner, with the hygiene problem.
Oh, great.
Does this false nose mean anything to you?
It's not Red Nose Day again, is it?
I don't know. But this is part of a clown's costume.
I know that. Good God Almighty, what do you take me for?
Do you recognize this man?
No, I don't. What do you want with him?
I've got a score to settle.
I don't want any trouble in the bar, mister. If it's a fight you're looking for, see Father Mahoney.
A priest? A man of the cloth?
Sure. And he teaches the boys how to box at the youth club. According to Mahoney, it develops character. Isn't that right, Pat? Didn't he teach you the art of pugilism?
Dial. Sorry, Michael. I was miles away. What did you say?
Never mind.
Do you recognize the name on this card?
No. Should I?
Nah, it was a long shot.
I love the, like, for some reason that's like a combination that pops up fairly frequently in fiction. The combination of priest and punching. And for some reason I find that, like, I really like that. Aside from just the idea of like monks, you know, the traditional like JRPG monk class, which is like, you know, supposedly an order of monks who punch people. But like specifically priests who are also pugilists, and also rabbis. If you've played the Shiva by Wajidai Games, Rabbi Stone in that game is also a boxer. It's pretty great.
Here's something which might interest you.
Huh? Oh, what is it?
My passport to the sewers of Paris.
Is that so? Did you see the snooker last night, Mr. O'Brien?
We haven't got a television, Michael.
I know that. Why is it, if you don't mind me asking?
If God had meant us to watch television, we'd all be like Doyle.
I take it no one wants to hear about my underground escapades.
I'd rather drink me own beer.
Wow.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No, sir.
Hey, bartender?
A landlord, if you don't mind.
Sorry. Shake my hand, why don't you?
Now, why should I do that? What have you got up your sleeve?
Nothing. Come on, just shake my hand.
Oh, not just now, mister. I have to be careful on account of the health restrictions.
Aw, jeez.
We'll just wash your hands afterwards.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
That's disgusting.
Uh-huh. I found it in the sewers.
God.
What's the idea of waving it around in my face?
Sort.
You're worse than old Ron. Put it away, man.
Ooh, can I give this tissue to Ron? He'll sneeze into it, and I don't know why. Just because.
Thanks.
Maybe get grease paint all over his face.
The glass contained a dark liquid like molasses, with a creamy white froth on the top.
That sounds like Guinness to me. I can has. What happens if I drink, like... is this one of those games where I can drink too much beer and either get drunk or dead or killed?
Somehow, I'd managed to drink the thick, sweet brew. I felt strangely compelled to order another, even though my every instinct warned me against it.
Yeah, or vomit then die.
Somehow, I felt... the glass was empty. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Give me another one.
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honored fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar utilizing the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven.
Original gravity. None of this modified gravity.
Thanks.
More beer.
The glass contained...
Yeah, well, we're also in a room full of people.
The glass...
So talking to all of them is going to take a while.
Somehow, I felt Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Hey, how about another drink?
Same again?
Do you serve cocktails?
I'll serve anyone with manners. And money.
No, I'm serious. Have you considered turning McDevitt's into a cocktail bar? Cocktails are chic, cool, and popular with younger drinkers.
What? Kids in the bar? Can you imagine it? Pinball, pimples, and puke.
Right, I get the picture. I'll settle for a glass of stout.
Cocktails are usually my preferred method of alcohol ingestion when on the rare occasions that I do
Thanks.
partake. That and cider. I'm a fan of cider. Original gravity.
Somehow, I felt... Excuse me.
More beer.
Yes, sir?
More beer over here!
Yes, sir.
I haven't paid for any of this. Damn right. All the dialogue.
Thanks.
And like whenever a game is dialogue heavy, I will like usually go out of my way to like find as much of it as possible. Like I will talk to everybody constantly until they start repeating themselves. Wonder how many beer. Okay, this is 4. This is my 4th beer, I think.
Somehow I felt... Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
More beer over here!
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm just repeating myself. Exactly. Yes, I'm the same way. They went to all the trouble to like write this line.
Thanks.
To write all these lines and record them, and the actor performed them, and I want to experience that. Yeah, I bet you're right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like I don't seem to be adversely affected in any way, so. Huh. Okay. Yeah, maybe it is part of a different puzzle. I bet this glass washer thing is too. Yeah, pear cider is my favorite. That's the best.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
No customers behind the bar. Ever.
I'm not a customer. All right, you Sneezy McGee.
Hi there, old-timer.
What?
Nasty cold you've got there. As soon as the words left my lips, I regretted them.
Is there such a thing as a cold which isn't nasty? I put the question to Father Mahoney. Father, says I, why were we born to suffer snot?
What did he say?
He said, it's my reward for being out all night like a sinner.
Oh, don't sneeze on me, dude.
Pious prig. Anyway, this is no ordinary cold. 'Tis the hay fever.
Okay, so allergies.
Pollinosis?
Thank you. You're not a policeman, are you?
Excuse me?
Police? No. I'd know it if you were.
Yes, coffee fortune telling is superior. I agree. Really? Is sneezing a hangover thing? I've never heard of that.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist?
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking around at the castle, isn't it? No, I don't know him.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Not a big fan of beer, but I do love me some cider. And yes, pear cider's the best. Apple cider's acceptable. I've had pineapple cider too, which is pretty good, but pear cider's the best. God, yeah, like, I mean, if you're already hungover, you're all like headachy and dry-mouthed and nauseous and like sneezing on top of that. God, that must be terrible.
I'm looking for Sean Fitzgerald. Have you seen him?
Never heard of him.
Don't you come from around here?
None of your business. I didn't ask where you come from, did I?
I'm from California.
That's your problem.
Ouch.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
I told you, I never heard of him.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko. Lochmarn Castle is haunted.
That's what the kid outside told me, but I don't believe it.
Then you're a fool.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure, with me very own eyes.
Can you describe the ghost?
It was horrible. A wee stunted beast, long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or something?
Skunk? In Lochmarn? That'll be the day.
Are there skunks in Ireland? I actually don't know.
No, that was a ghost, to be sure.
Pear Drax. I'm not familiar with that one.
I think I know what you saw on the castle wall.
I know what I saw.
I don't think so. It was the kid, McGuire.
What?
He was up on the wall last Tuesday night. He thought you were the Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh.
Were you aware that Pegram was conducting an archaeological dig?
I don't meddle in other people's affairs. They don't interest me.
Ghosts don't bother me. I still want to visit that castle.
You can't. It's not open to the public.
There's no one around to stop me, is there?
That's right. Nothing human, anyhow.
Can I buy you a beer?
Very kind, I'm sure. But I don't drink the stuff Leary sells.
What's wrong with it?
I've seen what it can do.
What does that mean?
You could make use of this tissue.
Never use them. Those things are unhygienic.
Jeez. How many sneezes have I taken just like full on the chest at this point? I haven't been counting.
Hey, would you like to shake my... no, on second thought, forget it. What does this matchbook mean to you?
Smart, George.
Nothing. Go away and stop bothering me.
Can you identify this tool?
No.
Oh, brought in to breed as pets. Interesting. I can see that.
Take a look at this ID
They're
card.
pretty cute.
Take a look. Oh, yes. Little plastic picture.
I don't suppose it means anything to you, does it?
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Is that supposed to be you?
No, I don't have a scar on my face, and I'm not from the Middle East.
I can't tell without me glasses.
You sneezed them off at some point, I'm sure.
What does this red nose mean to you?
I suppose you're collecting for charity?
No, I'm not.
What?
I want to know if you've seen someone wearing a nose like this.
No, I haven't.
Could you use this towel?
I could, but it wouldn't be much use for anything else.
I'll see you later.
Alright, let's talk to this guy. Soak this nostrils of death from Dragon Slayer. It does. I can absolutely see, like, Dirk just getting drenched in a sneeze from, like, an ogre or something. And then he, like, either suffocates or, like, slips and falls off of something.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
What?
I need to speak with you urgently.
What's the problem?
What's your problem?
Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig?
What gave you that idea?
McGuire says you did.
You don't believe that damned hooligan, do you?
Why not?
His probation officer could tell you a tale or two.
Where can I find Professor Pegram?
I heard he's gone fishing. I don't know where.
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there. Just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes, when I was a kid. Then one of the little uns fell off the wall, broke his head and died.
Huh, I just
We didn't
noticed,
go there anymore.
You haven't been up there recently?
No.
What's that? He, like, pulls, like, a string out of his jacket and then puts it back. Huh. I didn't notice that before. What that's all about.
Have you heard about the gem which Pegram found?
I heard a rumour, but you can't believe everything you hear or see, can you?
Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I'm on tablets for my nerves. More than a pint and I'll pass out.
Oh, really? Intriguing.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
Nothing.
Shake my hand.
It's a trick, isn't it?
Damn it, you're right. I can't seem to fool anyone.
Hey, I fooled that kid outside.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Something to do with horses?
Wrong. It's for opening manhole covers.
Oh, really? Well, you learn something every day.
Check out this pass.
Yeah. It's yours, is it?
Not exactly. Do you recognize the name?
Thomas Merlin? No, never heard of him.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No. At least I don't think so.
Look closely. He has a scar on his face.
No, I'm sure I don't know him.
What does this red nose suggest to you?
Blood.
Why's that?
I used to bleed a lot when I was a kid. Every time there was a playground scrap, I'd end up with a bloody nose. I wouldn't have minded, but I wasn't even involved in the scraps.
Aw, sensitive kid.
Ever seen this towel before?
Doesn't it belong on the bar?
Very observant, Fitzgerald. See you later.
We're not in France. Didn't you see the part where I went to Ireland? We're in Ireland now. Let's see, can I pick up that string? Yes, I can. Yoink!
As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire.
I don't know why I need that piece of wire, but I'm sure I need it for some reason.
It was a short piece of wire, twisted into a rough circle. Hello again.
What?
What's that you're making?
It's a necklace, me bucko.
Oh, sure. Made out of steel wire?
That's right. A necklace for my pretty one. When my little lover feels it round her slender neck, she'll be mine. All mine.
What? That's creepy.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't think much of a wire necklace.
It's not made for a woman. I've got my sights on tastier dishes than women. Flesh as smooth and tender as a maiden's. Bones as soft and white as a newborn babe's.
Fuck.
Rabbit, lad.
Okay.
That's what gets my juices flowing.
That's kind of... Alright. That's kind of what I suspected, but, alright. Why did you need to put it that way?
Ah, so you're making snares to trap rabbits.
That's right. Do you have a problem with that?
Damn right I do. Isn't it painful?
Only if I get me fingers caught.
I'm talking about the rabbits. Do they feel much pain?
You bet.
Jesus, dude.
Did you ever see Fitzgerald at Peagram's Dig?
I never heard of either of them.
I'll see you later.
Okay. Well then.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Does this piece of wire mean anything to you?
Good God, man. Put it away.
What's the problem?
Don't play the innocent with me, mister. What you do with that wire is your own business, but don't drag me into it.
What the heck is that all about?
Does this piece of...
No, it doesn't.
Thanks.
Why is everyone all, like, weird about this wire?
Hey!
Hello there again, mister.
Do you remember seeing Sean Fitzgerald at the dig?
Let me see now. I think me brain box needs a spot of lubrication.
Ah. Alright, sure.
Can I buy you a drink?
You most certainly can.
Give me a drink for my friend here.
Who, Doyle? Has he conned you into buying for him? Shame on you, Patrick. Same again.
Just a point this time, Michael.
1 point of brown coming up.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you remember Sean Fitzgerald now?
I can picture the scene as if it was only last week. Come to think of it, it was only last week. Fitzgerald was there all right. Him and a bunch of students. He was speaking with the boss man.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Does this piece of wire mean anything to you?
Not me, mister.
What do you think of this towel?
Now, there's a fine piece of cloth if ever I did see one. Such craft must surely come from linen cupboards of the Vatican itself.
I found it on the bar under your elbow.
I thought it looked familiar.
Bye for now. Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien.
Hello there. What now?
What do you make of this piece of wire?
It looks ordinary enough to me.
Does this towel mean anything to you?
Sure, it's one of Leary's towels. Are you planning on stealing it?
Just borrowing it, if you must know. Goodbye for now.
Hello.
Doyle told me you definitely worked at the dig.
You don't believe him, do you? Patrick Doyle is a moron and a scoundrel.
Even so, he saw you talking to Pegram.
You can't prove that, mister.
I guess that's true.
What do you suppose this wire is used for?
How should I know?
See you later.
Alright. Well, let's go check out that little path. Get away from this extremely unhygienic bar with its sneezing wonder over there. Yeah, it must be a pretty important something going on over there.
Hey, McGuire.
What do you want to know?
Could be.
I heard that Pegram had found a legendary gem.
That's right. It's been the talk of Lochman all week.
You haven't seen the gem, have you?
Hell no. I reckon Pegram made off with it. If I was him, I'd go to Amsterdam, chop it up and sell it. He could be living the life of Riley instead of digging holes.
Oh god, no. No, we're still, like, very much on the trail of the clown.
Are you sure Fitzgerald worked at the dig?
We're nowhere near catching
Oh,
him.
yes. It was him, all right. Would I tell a lie?
Yes.
Well, he denies it.
I saw them together only last night.
I wish you'd told me that sooner. What were they doing?
Pegram gave Fitzy a box. He didn't look too happy about it.
I knew it. But how am I going to persuade him to part with it?
Break his fingers.
Nah, I couldn't do that.
I could.
Thanks for the offer, kid, but I'll try a more subtle approach.
Chinese burns?
Do you know where I could find Fitzgerald?
He's inside, but you won't get no sense out of him.
How come? Is he drunk?
He's like a frightened rabbit. A real bag of nerves. Why, the fella's scared of his own shadow.
Rabbit, you say?
What's Fitzgerald scared of?
Everything and everyone.
So I shouldn't have any trouble getting him to talk.
He's a pushover. But don't scare him too much. Try the soft touch. Butter him up a bit.
Oh, alright. Thanks.
What do you think this wire could be used for?
Stealing cars. There's only one problem.
The local policeman?
No. Nobody in Lochmarn has got a car.
What do you make of this, kid?
Hey, that's one of Leary's towels. He'll skin you alive.
That old windbag doesn't scare me. Anyhow, I'm only borrowing it.
You're pretty cool, mister. For an old guy.
Oh, thanks.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Borrowing it in the sense of the adventure game protagonist, which means using it for something and then forgetting I have it and throwing it away. Or, like, using it for something and causing it to be destroyed in the process. Well, he did say he's 25. That's true, yeah, there is a bus. Alright, let's see. Butter him up a bit, huh? I don't believe that he's 25, but he said he was.
Hello.
McGuire says he saw you working at the dig. What's more, he saw you talking with Pegram.
I knew this would happen. I knew I'd get caught. Just my luck. Grasped up by a delinquent and a dimwit.
I need to talk to Professor Pegram, if he's still alive.
What do you mean? Is he in danger?
Yeah, you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social Security.
Hell no. What makes you think that?
Well, I was claiming benefit at the same time I was working for Pegram.
Oh.
I'm not in a position to make judgments, Sean. That's between you and your conscience. All I want is to talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that package with you, didn't he? So where did Pegram go?
I don't know. I swear it. He came to see me early this morning. Said he was leaving. He asked me to give this package to a guy called Marquet.
French guy?
What did Pegram find at the castle?
The entrance to an underground chamber. It was filled with earth and rubble, and Pegram had us dig it out. We uncovered a secret room, a hidden chapel.
Did Pegram find the gem in the altar room?
I don't know. He made us leave and wouldn't tell us why. Half an hour later he came out, white as a sheet he was. He closed down the dig and locked up the castle, sent us all away.
From the sound of it, Pegram had discovered more than just the gem.
I know, right? Like, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, dude, cough into your elbow. And we went over and talked to him, and he, like, sneezed on me, like, at least 6 times.
Show me what's in the package, Sean.
Yeah, we
I
do.
can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
Yeah, we have a plague-infested wire that was sitting in this guy's jacket. We have a tissue that we found in a sewer. We have a clown nose that was on, you know, somebody's nose. George is just like just collecting disgusting germ-ridden filth.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. I've been patient with you, but now it's time to kick ass.
But he'll kill me.
Who will?
The man from Paris, Jack Marquet. Pegram told me if I gave him the package unopened, I'd hear no more about it. But if I double-crossed Marquet, I'd be dead.
I'll deal with Jacques Marquet. Give the package to me.
No, why should I trust you? I don't know who to trust anymore. I wish I'd never even heard of the Lochmarn gem.
Oh, great. Yeah, I don't know. We don't. That sounded like a car.
Hey, I just seen a big red.
Get out of here, Maguire. Come back when you're old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
A big red sports car. Sean Fitzgerald's been runned over.
Get out! Noisy little tyke.
Maybe you should send out some medicinal brandy, Michael.
Oh, yes? And who's going to pay for it?
Not me.
Me too, neither.
Well, great. I just caused this guy's death. Oh, he's got another wire. I wonder if I can steal that too.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding me own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill.
Well, to be fair,
Would you look at that, says I.
he is a liar.
And I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on my ass. But the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner.
Yikes.
Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Ah, yes, and we did see that was the dude's next costume from at the costume shop, because he bought the clown costume and the pixie costume. He does. He looks like at least like 17 or something in the in the animation in the cutscene. That was like unexpectedly bloody too. Just yikes.
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. I'm just an ordinary guy caught up in a whirlpool of intrigue.
And you're drunk.
Not so.
Yeah, you've been drinking mucky beer in the boozer.
Only a few glasses. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
I wonder if that line is different if I didn't drink anything. I bet it is.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Okay, so he wasn't exactly run over, but he was hit by a car and then abducted. So, that's interesting. I've had one alcohol. I've only had one officer, Mr. Beer. Alright, what's up this cool little path? Also, isn't the drinking age in Ireland lower than it is here in the US? It's like 18 or something, isn't it? Not 21. But I mean, I guess if he's not 18, then that still doesn't. It still means he doesn't get to go in the bar.
On the back of the cart was a crazily stacked tower of hay bales, leaning precariously against the castle wall. The farmer's craggy face was set in a mask of aesthetic appreciation. His feet were set in a pair of manure-caked boots.
Ew. If you can stand, you can drink. So, like, once you're a toddler...
The gates were made of solid, age-blackened wood.
Oh, look at that, like, reflection in the puddles in the path. That's really cool. Some good arting there.
Get away, you silly noodle! Can't you see the load's unstable?
Noodle. Don't you call me a noodle.
On the back of the... Hi, it's me again.
So I see. What now?
What do you mean, me again? It's not the first time I've seen you.
Have you seen Professor Pegram?
No, he's packed up and gone.
Do you happen to know where?
Back in England, I suppose.
Do you think Pegram's disappearance is due to the curse?
Look at the facts. He dug up the gem. He disappeared. Bingo. It doesn't take a degree in mathematics to work that one out, does it? You don't have to be a smarty Pythagoras with a calculator.
I guess not.
Pegram has run off with the gem.
Did you happen to see a red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Who built the castle?
Mad Phelan, the first Lord of Lochmarn. Well, I say lord, but actually he was little more than a village chieftain. He built his castle from the remains of the Templar preceptory.
That's what I want to know. Oh, interesting. Straw is the waste part of hay. I did not know that. That's cool. Thanks, Nevik Link.
Do you mind if I climb up your haystack to get into the castle?
What? You'd break your stupid neck for sure. Do you think I'd stand by and see your brains dashed out?
I'd be very careful, and I promise not to sue.
You won't get the chance, not while I'm here to stop you.
Good book?
A book? It's a passport to a world of fantasy and imagination.
Yeah, what's the title?
Creative Shelving for Beginners, the 1978 edition.
Ooh, riveting.
What's so cool about home improvement?
There's nothing like it. The resinous autumnal aroma of seasoned wood, the rhythmic rasp of the plane. Ah, no wonder our Lord came to earth as the son of a humble carpenter. I bet he was a wizard with a chisel and a length or two before.
Yes, thank you. I made the same joke earlier. There were some tools in a museum, and George referred to them as home improvement, and I attempted the Tim Allen grunt.
Surely the betrayal of Christ's adoptive family as humble artisans is a symbolic metaphor.
I don't know about that, but I know they were carpenters. Haven't you read the book?
Well, no. But I have seen The Greatest Story Ever Told, and I don't recall Jesus putting up any shelves. The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah. He knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast, he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
Maybe you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari. His name is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew, the idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was
so
he
there's
killed
hay.
by the car?
Oh, no. But he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
It's a relief that he's been abducted. I mean, I guess that he wasn't killed, but...
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
Wow. I mean... Like, there's something to be said for realism, but you are the worst uncle ever.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle. His own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard? It'll need some thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
No, I need it.
Where was the site of the Templar preceptory?
Right here on Temple Hill. Phelan built right on top of the old wall. It's said that deep beneath these walls there's a Templar chapel.
Did Pegram discover the chapel?
I don't know. His workers were sworn to secrecy.
Have you any use for this towel?
Whatever gave you that idea? Oh dear me, no.
Does this false nose mean anything to you?
You're a circus clown.
No, but I got this from someone who disguised himself as a clown.
Is that a fact? Why did you do that now?
He's a psychotic killer. I think he may be connected with Pegram's disappearance. You don't have to demolish the haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place and warn anyone who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvelous! I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
Aw, I wanted to try to shake your hand.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay.
Oh, alrighty then. Well, if this was a Sierra game, you can bet there'd be some some bullshit zigzagging hay climbing sequence I'd have to do here. And hey, it's not too late for that. Yes, my friends the ants. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, I just noticed. This thing is uncovered now.
The plastic cover had been smashed by the Pixie's car, revealing a switch.
I want to see if that guy is actually in the bar, like he said he was going to be. Yes, he is. Yeah, I didn't notice it until just now.
The farmer was drinking and chatting with his pals as if nothing had happened. Maybe abduction had replaced cattle raiding as their national pastime.
Didn't even wipe off his boots.
Hello.
Hello there. Let me introduce you to my pals.
We've already met. I want you to know you have my sympathy.
I dare say I'll get over it.
What about Sean? Why aren't you out looking for him?
There's no point in launching an ill-equipped expedition to save the lad. In a life-or-death situation, preparation is essential. That's why I slipped in here.
For a point.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, but I wouldn't trust him. His eyes are too close together. He's not a friend of yours, is he?
Oh no, far from it. In fact, I believe it's the face of a killer.
I knew it! Piggy eyes. Can't trust him.
Do you know anything about this piece of wire?
It looks like a handmade snare.
Do you recognize the name on this card?
I can't read that little writing.
It says Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics.
Is that your name, Tommy Merlin?
No, but what a great stage name. It had what my high school hypnosis act had lacked, style and class. For a few seconds, I bathed in spotlights on a thundering tide of applause. Tommy Merlin, hypnotist.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. I just remembered something.
Wow. That was a journey.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. Is it used on sheep?
No, it's for lifting the covers off drains.
Never. How?
Well, the end of the tool fits into the hole in the cover.
They'd slip out. Angles are wrong. You'd never do it.
I have. I did it in Paris.
I guess it could be used on sheep.
What do you make of this matchbook?
Seems ordinary enough to me.
Would you like to shake my hand?
What is this? I don't do that male bonding stuff.
Maybe you should. You'd have better attitude.
What do you make of this tissue?
That is a very unpleasant object indeed.
Yes.
Excellent response.
I gotta go.
Actually, wait.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
I don't want any...
Just give me a shout when you do.
Alright. What does this do?
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand.
Uh-oh.
The plastic cover had been... It was impossible to return the switch to its original position.
Well, crap. I broke it.
Get out.
The end of the bar was hid.
Get out.
Is there any time at which he's not looking? I don't think there is, but No.
Get.
No, I think I'm gonna need a bit more of a distraction to get back there. Also, I would like to know why I'm getting back there before I try to get back there. Also, we should all try to actually get to the castle like we said we would. Excuse me. I just saved, but whatever. Some of my friends, the ants. Yeah, it is one of those lifty bar door things. George just describes it in a very florid way for some reason. Huh. I was expecting like a
The stack of hay stopped, short of the top of the wall.
action sequence.
Even
or
if I
something.
stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland.
I don't know, looks like you could reach up there. It's like just within fingertip distance.
Above my head was a gap in the wall where the massive stones had fallen away.
Alright.
That is not a good idea.
No?
That... no.
Yeah, that is a very precarious top of a pile of hay bales. That's pretty scary. You just walk backwards like a crazy person. Damn, George.
The gates were made...
Yeah, I didn't
Pushing with all my strength got me nowhere. They didn't budge. I really need to start working out.
Can I perhaps,
The gates were made of...
No? I can't unlock that, padlock?
Pushing with all my... I didn't have the first idea how to pick a lock.
Oh, come on. Every adventure game protagonist knows how to pick a lock. Speak friend and enter. Find your lockpicking skill. Yeah. Pick nose. Click. Success. You now have an open nose. I mean, heck, he's got the right coloration to be the Quest for Glory hero.
The workman's key was the obvious tool to use to open this trapdoor. It was specifically designed for a job like this. Unfortunately, there weren't any holes in the trapdoor. I tried to use the keys to lever up the grating, but that wasn't going to happen.
Dang.
Hey, McGuire.
What do you want to know?
Nothing.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Common blonde adventure game protagonist, yeah. A variation on the common brown-haired. Did you guys have anything to say?
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien.
Hello there. What now?
The boy told me Fitzgerald was driven away in the car that hit him.
McGuire is always spinning wild yarns. I don't know where he gets them from. Television, I expect, or comics. If I was you, I'd take what he says with a generous pinch of salt.
Yeah, that's good advice.
McGuire's tale about the car sounds quite plausible to me. He says the driver was dressed like a leprechaun.
We said pixie.
That boy has a head full of fluffy toys.
Goodbye for now. Hello.
What now?
I gotta go. Hey,
Hello there again, mister.
what do you know about leprechauns, Doyle?
Leprechauns. Is it the little people you're talking about? Sure, and a cousin of mine was wed to one.
Cool.
Oh, come on. Do you really expect me to believe that?
It's the truth, I'm telling you. She fell asleep on a fairy ring, see? When she woke up, there he was. A little fella, all in green.
Keep going.
Tell me more about your cousin and the leprechaun.
Oh, no.
Well, young Mary was speechless, especially when the leprechaun up and spoke to her. Be my bride, me darling, says he, and she'll never want for riches again. Okay, says she, and he slips a ring of daisies on her finger.
Amen.
So there you are, proof that the little people exist.
Well, that's no proof. All you have is her word for it.
Not so. The following spring, she had a little baby.
Uh-huh.
Did the leprechaun's promise come true?
What promise was that now?
That she'd never want for riches again.
Now, there's the strangest thing. She never did.
I thought you said she was claiming the social part.
Indeed, Mr. O'Brien. But there's riches and riches. She told me, Pat, she says, that little darling boy is all the riches in the world to me.
Bye for now.
Let's go to the sneeze zone.
Hello again.
What?
Aren't you concerned about what happened to Fitzgerald? No.
Yes, I'm this concerned. Not you!
I'll see you later.
I am a little bit. What's my next move? I need to wait to. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have an idea. I didn't try this before. Yeah, I was starting to feel a little bit dozy there for a minute. But I'm actually almost done, so I won't have to worry about falling asleep on stream. First, let me do this that I just thought of doing. Towel.
Maybe not.
What? Come on.
Maybe not.
Like, just, you know, tie the towel in a knot or whatever and, like, throw it over the thing.
Maybe not.
Come on, MacGyver up a rope and grapnel. You've got the stuff for it.
No way. That is not a good idea.
Sure it is. What about this ivy? Can I just, like, jump over to this ivy and use that to climb over the fence? Or the wall? Pull some, Shadow of the Colossus shit? I'm an adventure game protagonist, not an action game protagonist. I can't do that, that wall jump, sideways wall jump thing. Well, okay, we're gonna have to figure out a way over that wall next time, I'm thinking. Because I'm about out of time for now. So we did a lot of talking to people today. Lots and lots of talking to people. And I don't really see any other... I don't see any other places to go in town. So I think this is... This is it. This is my... Wait, I just lost... I had a... Oh. Oh no, okay, wait. Okay, there we go. I was like, wait a minute, where did the exit go? It was there, now it's gone. Yeah, and there's gotta be something to do with this, too. I gotta actually stop. Wait, can I do... What am I even trying to do here? I don't even know.
It was impossible to...
Alright. Okay, I gotta stop. Oops. Hold on. Okay. Oops. Ah. Yeah, so I guess next time we'll try to figure out a way into the castle and try to figure out what my next move is in general here. So, yeah, I will leave you there for now, and we will find someone to raid. And tomorrow will be Deadly Premonition. I have no idea what's coming up for me in that game aside from driving around and talking about movies with Zach, with my invisible friend. Also, possibly more fishing and possibly more coffee. And hopefully I can find a weapon. That would be nice. Anyway, let's see. Ah, yes. Many people are, of course, playing Star Wars games. We got some Lego Star Wars going on. What else? Hey, there's some Shadow Hearts over there with Nerethia. I can never say no to Shadow Hearts. Yeah, we're gonna raid Nerethia again. He's right at the end game too, so that'll be fun. My lucky item, yes. My lucky food. It's coffee! Thank you for coming by, everyone, and I just thank you in general to everybody who's ever come to my stream and helped me get to 1,000 followers. Oh, someone did unfollow me. Now I'm at exactly 1,000. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Even if I somehow lose followers and go below 1,000, I'm still going to do not 24-hour, but the 2 12-hour streams thing. Yeah, I will probably post more about that on my Twitter account once I figure out more info about what I'm going to do. Thank you. Very cool. I never thought I would ever have that many followers. Actually, what I want at this point is more viewers. Is like just a bigger audience in general. But at the same time, having a really big audience is kind of a pain in the ass, and I'm glad I have a small one, because it's much easier to keep track of chat, and much easier to deal with jerks when they show up, which is rare, which is also very nice. So, yeah. I like it. I like having just a cozy, close-knit bunch of viewers. Thank you for your support, everybody. You are all awesome. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for more Deadly Premonition, and Wednesday for hopefully some Reciteer, because we didn't do it last week. And yeah, more of this next Monday. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your night, or day, or morning, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Later, everyone! Yay!